Hi, this is Mr. Chow. Welcome to another video. This video will be about AI and job security for my students. I'm sure you are curious. In this video, we will discuss what the recent developments in the AI means for you in terms of your education as well as your job security. All right. So let's get started very quickly. We'll start this video by looking at what is happening in schools, right? The National AI Student Link, the SLS, this is available for the primary levels to the JC. And then we have the adaptive learning paths. These are the AI algorithms that analyze the student responses in real time to adjust the difficulty of follow-up questions. And then we have AI feedback tools for the English and mother tongue teachers to use the AI to provide immediate automated feedback on grammar and basic structure for essays, allowing teachers to focus on the higher level content and critical thinking. In other words, they're using AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting, right? Like the marking, like the routine work, the rote learning, so that the teachers can use their cognitive bandwidth to focus more on the more challenging aspect of the languages. And then we have the AI scribe for teachers. This is a tool implemented to assist the teachers in summarizing lesson plans and generating quiz questions based on the national curriculum. This is very useful for the teachers because it will lighten their workload, so to speak. Okay, but of course the expectations will go up, right? So schools are going to expect like maybe 5x or 10x the productivity because of the availability of such tools. Next, we have the AI literacy framework. For the primary level, the focus is on the AI awareness, so they are not expected to know how to operate the AI. So all they need to do is to have some basic fundamental understanding of what the AI is and the basic ethics, right? For example, why a chatbot might be wrong, okay? And then at the secondary level, this is where the schools will try to implement the AI literacy. All right, students learn to prompt effectively and understand the basics of machine learning through applied learning programs, right? The ALP, and this will be incorporated into secondary schools. As for the tertiary and the JC level, we have the AI competency. Students are expected to use AI tools for research, coding, and project management with a specific focus on identifying hallucinations and bias. Okay, so in other words, starting from primary level, you have awareness. Secondary level, they learn how to use the prompts, and then the tertiary and JC level, that's where they're assessed based on the ability to use the AI and to recognize the AI limits. All right. Okay, next we have some guidelines on assessment integrity, and this is important. We have supervised assessments in schools as there's a significant shift back toward in-person supervised exams for high-stake subjects to mitigate AI-generated plagiarism. All right, so this to prevent the use of AIs to ensure that the students can show their learning and demonstrate their understanding, right? Whether they've internalized the content without resorting to AI, okay? And then we have process-based grading. For project work, marks are increasingly awarded for the process itself, right? For example, the drafts, the reflections, and the source verification rather than just the final product, because the AI can be the one producing the final product, right? So what is the process? In other words, what is the working, okay? Teachers and schools want to see the working for the project work. AI attribution. Now, students are permitted to use AI for brainstorming, but must include an AI attribution appendix detailing which prompts were used and how they verified the output. All right, so again, it's process-oriented. So students don't try to cheat by saying that this is your own credit when it's not, okay? When you need to attribute the AI, by all means, put down your human signature, all right? So we'll get into that later. Now, what about teachers, right? Professional development for the educators. We have the AI Ready Teacher ART certification. And teachers undergo mandatory training modules to become proficient in AI orchestration. In other words, they're learning how to lead a class where students are using diverse AI tools simultaneously, right? So the teachers need to be proficient before they can guide the students. There are also AI champions. So every school now has designated AI champions who pilot new tools and set internal policies on tool usage. Okay, so it's very clear that the schools are moving towards adopting AI, coming out with the guidance as well as the policies, so that they can make the smooth transition, okay, from the current curriculum to ones that supports or use AI. Ethical and safety guardrails. We have the data privacy, PDPA compliance. All AI tools used in schools must be whitelisted and compliant with strict data protection laws to ensure student data isn't used to train external models. Alright, so this is important. Parental engagement. Schools conduct regular town halls to inform parents how AI is being used and the school's stance on academic honesty. And I feel this is very important because students spend half the time in school but half the time at home. Alright, so at home, the parents need to engage the students as well to see how they are using the AI. Okay, so the goal is to make sure that they use the AI responsibly, and with honesty, right? So that they're not trying to cheat the system and take shortcuts when they're not supposed to. All right. Tertiary and adult education, we're talking about the skills future. We have the AI enhanced career guidance. The AI used to match students' skills and interests with emerging job roles in the Singapore economy. And I feel this is really good because a lot of times students are left alone to try and figure out which course to pick, which jobs to go into. And when I interact with my students, a lot of them are actually lost, right? Or they are confused. So now you have certain guidance. Of course, you don't just decide on your career simply based on the AI output, all right? So you need to just use it as support materials to maybe give you clues about your own strengths and weaknesses, and that will help you make a more informed choice, right? For example, you do not know in depth about a certain course that you want to choose. So you can use the AI to prompt for information, and that will allow you to make a better decision. Next, we have subsidized AI courses through Skills Future. There is a massive push for adult learners and graduating students to take AI for business or AI for creative arts courses to remain employable. So I believe these courses are very useful for students who are maybe not into the technical side of things when they are in their tertiary education, right? For example, you just take a course in arts and social science and you want to have that technical advantage as well. So you might want to go for some of these subsidized AI courses after you graduate, all right? Here are the recent rules, all right, the laws, legislative shifts for this year. The AI Verified Foundation, led by the IMDA, okay, that's the authority, Infocom Media Development Authority, something like that, right, has released specific toolkits for edtech developers and AI tools sold to Singaporean schools must now pass an educational efficacy and bias audit, ensuring the AI does not reinforce stereotypes or favor specific demographics. Okay, so there is some kind of audit and verification, okay, by the IMDA. All right. Now we've talked about what is happening in schools, right? And what is happening in schools need to match what's happening in the job market, right? Otherwise, what are you doing the education for? Okay, if you cannot make a living out of your skills and your competence, all right? So let's look at some key trends in the AI job market adoption, right? So from prompting, we are moving to orchestration. What does that mean? Okay, so the trend of simple prompt engineering has peaked and companies now seek AI orchestrators, and these are people who can design workflows where multiple AI agents handle different parts of business process, an AI that handles lead generation, talking to an AI that manages the CRM, and make sure they integrate properly, okay? So it's not just as simple as coming up with a prompt. Next key trend, the middle management squeeze. So the AI is increasingly taking over the quantitative and administrative oversight traditionally handled by junior to mid-level managers, right? So the job roles are shifting toward the human in the loop positions, where the human's primary value is final verification, ethical oversight, and edge case resolution. So in other words, the human judgment, okay, the human decision making is ultimately the most important. All right. So a lot of the grunt work, right, the quantitative work, these are all being replaced by the AI. Bespoke corporate large language models. Bespoke means custom, right? So the enterprises are moving away from public tools like the standard ChatGPT. They are deploying private instances trained on internal company data, right? So this to keep their privacy as well as their competitive advantages. So knowing how to query and safeguard this data within these private environments is becoming a baseline requirement for office roles. Augmented blue-collar work. So in sectors like logistics and manufacturing, AI is being used for real-time optimization. Workers in these fields now interact with AI-driven scheduling and predictive maintenance tools, requiring a new level of digital literacy for historically non-desk roles, right? So meaning the people who upgrade their AI skills, all right, and who are tech savvy in this logistic and manufacturing sector, they will have an advantage in the job market, all right? So what is the government doing to bridge this gap? Okay, so there's a huge gap that the government recognized. So they use the Skills Future Level Up program, enhanced for age 40 plus and above people like myself, all right? The AI apprenticeship program expansion, the career conversion programs, all right, CCP, the AI Verified Foundation and Trustworthy AI, the PMAX and Enterprise SG support, and the tripartite guidelines on AI at the workplace, responsible AI. So I don't want to bore you with all the different government measures, but just to maybe raise your awareness that these programs are available if you require the assistance, or you want to upskill and train yourself to be, savvy with AI. These are some of the programs that you can look at. All right, so now let's talk about what all these developments mean for you. All right, that's what's important. Now, the definition of student success has shifted from knowing the answer to verifying and integrating the output, right? So this is the most important. Okay, so it's not just knowing the answer, you need to verify and integrate the output. Now, the landscape marks the end of the information accumulation era. Okay, so it's not just hoarding the knowledge, you need to know how to use it. Okay, so the key question, what do we do for job security? The barbell skill requirement, right? Now, notice that the job market has hollowed out in the middle, all right? So the students now need to be proficient in two polar opposite areas. Number one, they need to have the technical foundation. You don't need to be a coder, but you must understand computational thinking. That means knowing how the large language model works, why it hallucinates, and how to structure data. Okay. Now, on the other hand, you have the high-end human soft skills, right? These are the arts and social science students. Now, because the AI can write a standard essay or generate a basic slide deck, a student's value lies in the empathy, the ethics, and the negotiation. So these are the areas where AI still lacks the agentic nuance, right? The AI cannot do this very well and requires the high-end human soft skills, okay? The shift from search to synthesis. So what does that mean? Right now, the AI can give you 100 sources in seconds. Now, the student's job is to connect these sources, that is synthesis, right, to a local context. For example, how a global AI trend affects a specific SME in Singapore. Okay. Next, critical evaluation. Students are now graded more on their ability to solve AI bias or hallucinated facts than on the raw volume of information they present. Okay, so it's not just taking the output from the AI blindly, okay, and you don't even know if the AI has made any mistakes. So the human value is when you take the output and you can apply your verification, your critical evaluation, and you can spot those mistakes in order to enhance the overall quality of the work. So it's AI working with the humans in tandem. All right. Continuous micro reskilling. Right now, because the AI landscape, the Open AI, the Google Gemini, the Meta AI updates every few months, the most important trait for a student is adaptability. All right. So they must view their education as a subscription service that's non-stop rather than a one-time purchase. You think you graduate and you are set for life. Okay, that's not true. Competitive pressure versus collaboration. If everyone has access to a tier 1 AI tutor in the SLS, a good essay is no longer enough to stand out because everyone uses the AI, right? Now, the distinction now requires a unique human signature, right? This is the original primary research, the hands-on community work, or unique creative synthesis, right? That is, from yourself that an AI cannot replicate without a prompt, okay? Now, finally, let's take a look at what all this means for my students, right? We are looking to do some self-audit with regards to my teaching approach, right? Now, first of all, for the longest time, there's always been a focus on the foundation, and this is needed because you want to have the vocabulary and the correct words for specific AI prompts. So the language is still very important because if you cannot come up with very precise and specific AI prompts, that's going to affect your output and the overall quality of your work is going to drop. Okay, so the foundation is never going away. Now, connection of ideas is applies especially to upper sec and above students where we raise their awareness by exposing them to what's happening around them, what's happening in Singapore. Okay, so we give them the knowledge and help them connect the ideas, and that's where we can achieve the AI orchestration, right? Because they can see the different moving parts, right, of the different segments in Singapore and how they are connected to each other, and that puts them in a better position to conduct AI orchestration. They may not know it now, right? They might just see the O-level grade, but this is actually the skill that's being imparted to them, okay, as they attend my lessons, all right? Next, encourage critical thinking and internalization, all right? So instead of just memorizing the model essays, students are now capable of creating their own unique human signatures, and they develop the ability to verify ideas and contents, all right? So this is very important, but they are only applicable usually for upper secondary and general paper students. Now, during the lessons, we also use different tech tools, right? So we do use, the online videos. We do use the tablets. We do have online quizzes. We do have the online, O-level course that's available. So using all these different tech tools allow students to develop their tech savviness, meaning they grow comfortable using the tools, all right? Even though this may happen on a subconscious level, I still feel that it's very important so that when they grow into working adults, they do not reject such tools or they do not build up that resistance, okay? Face-to-face interaction, I believe is still very important because through our interaction, right, students learn empathy and other social skills, and this cannot be replaced by AI, right? They learn things like teamwork, they learn things like how to get along with other students, how to get along with their tutors, and so on and so forth. And this cannot be easily taught with a textbook, okay? Skills-based teaching, right? So for the longest time, again, my approach has always been on teaching the skills, right? The language skills. So when I teach them persuasive writing, for example, I do explain to them the importance of how this works and explain the why behind persuasive writing, okay? And that's the soft skills that they learn instead of trying to memorize the model essays. In fact, for some students, when they read the model essays, I do ask them to critique on the model essays to see, apply some evaluation evaluative thinking to see whether those essays are valid or not. Okay, so those are the skills that I want to equip my students with, and it goes beyond that simple, B3, A1, A2 grade for the O levels. All right. So with that said, we've come to the end of today's video. To sign up for lessons, if you are serious about learning the skills going forward, you know where to find me, englishttution.org. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.